Right, we need to start putting things onto the screen. Now we've got two screens here. This is the one where we actually build our game. That's the scene. And this is where it will show the result. Sorry about this little easy vid thing at the bottom here. Right, so we'll start by putting on the background. So just take the background from the actors folder and just drag it up into the hierarchy, and there it appears. So this is the thing that we're working on, and this is what it's going to look like on the screen. A few tips here: you can zoom in and out by using a scroll wheel. And zoom in. If you want to zoom in on something particular, hold the Alt key while you do that and position the cursor over it, and it'll center it onto that. Now, one of the things you'll notice is that the background is on the screen here, but we've got this little bar here. This is actually the window view, and you can see it's filled in with those blue bits at the side there. Right, we want to change the camera so that it just focuses on that part of the. So down here in the display, we've got the free aspect. Now, what we want to do is have a 4:3 screen with fixed aspect of 800 by 600. Right, so you can actually create a new setting for yourself just by clicking the plus here, and then give it a name. And then you can choose fixed resolution, and then the number of pixels across, number of pixels down, and that will create a new setting for you. As you can see, I've already created another one here and another one there, so it doesn't really matter which one we're doing. So I'll put it back onto web game, which is 800 by 600, and you notice that the camera has now fitted around the background. Now, if we just look over to the inspector here, this tells us a bit more about what we've got selected. So we've got the background selected here, and notice that every game object, so anything that appears in here is a game object, has got a transform, and the transform tells us about the position. Now here we've got X is 0, Y is 0, and Z is 0. Z is irrelevant really for our purposes because it's two-dimensional, and Z is in and out of the screen. Now 0, 0 on the X and the Y, this is X is horizontal, Y is vertical. So 0, 0, it means right at the center. So that's the 0, 0 point. Right, we've got a rotation, so we can rotate things around the X axis, the Y axis, or the Z axis. And then we can scale things. So the transform always tells us about that. Underneath that we've got the sprite renderer, which tells us what the sprite is. In other words, what asset we're using, how we're drawing it. And the important thing here is the sorting layer. Now, when you're using a 3D game, layers really relate to how things associate with each other. They're nothing to do with layers as you'd use in Photoshop or something like that. But what is important in a 2D game is this sorting layer, because it's important which things appear in front of others. Now, as this is a background, we'll choose put it in on the background sorting layer. Okay, so if we click on the drop down here, and we see we haven't got a background, so we need to add a sorting layer. Right, so here's the sorting layers. We've just got one, which is called default, but there's a plus button here, so if we click that, and we'll put it in background. Right, while we're here, we'll put another sorting layer for all of the things that actually happen in the game, as the background is fairly inert, it's just there to make it look pretty. So we'll put another sorting layer, and we'll call this action. Call it anything you like, but what's important is that the background should be higher up in the list than the action, or whatever you want to call it. This means that it draws things from top to bottom. So anything on the higher layer will go behind. Okay, so this is the front layer. Okay, good. Right, we're ready to start applying some action.